And a very warm welcome to Mission Swachhta or Pani special on this Menstrual Hygiene Day. I'm Maria Shakil. Today we put the spotlight on a heartbreaking reality. Girls dropping out of school due to lack of clean toilets. Imagine having to choose between attending school or maintaining hygiene during something as natural as having your period. Over the next half hour, we will talk to domain experts, health professionals, and social activists who are working tirelessly to address this massive crisis. But before that, here's a look at why menstrual hygiene management is a critical issue that needs to be brought to the forefront.
भारत में हर 5 में से एक लड़की को साफ टॉयलेट जैसी बुनियादी चीज की कमी के कारण स्कूल छोड़ने के लिए मजबूर होना पड़ता है। स्वच्छ टॉयलेट्स की कमी से बीमारी, दुर्व्यवहार का खतरा बढ़ जाता है और पीरियड्स के दौरान महिलाओं के लिए बड़ी चुनौतियां पैदा हो जाती हैं, जो अक्सर उन्हें कामकाज छोड़ने के लिए मजबूर करती हैं। भारत में पीरियड्स के दौरान साफ सफाई में सुधार लाने में अहम भूमिका निभा रहा है हार्पिक, जो कि शौचालय की देखभाल में भारत का अग्रणी ब्रांड है। मिशन स्वच्छता और पानी के जरिए न्यूज 18 और हार्पिक खास तौर से स्कूलों में स्वच्छ शौचालयों तक पहुंच की वकालत कर रहे हैं। स्वच्छता मिशन में रिकेट के साथ काफी समय से जुड़ा है PVR नेस्ट, जिसने पिंक टॉयलेट्स बनाए हैं। ये पूरी राष्ट्रीय राजधानी में फ्री टू यूज टॉयलेट्स हैं, जो महिलाओं के लिए खास तौर पर बनाए गए हैं। ग्रामालय के साथ साझेदारी में वर्ल्ड टॉयलेट कॉलेज जैसी पहल के माध्यम से रिकेट देश भर में पीरियड से जुड़ी साफ सफाई को बढ़ावा दे रहा है और एक ऐसे भविष्य के लिए प्रयास कर रहा है जहां महिलाएं और लड़कियां अपने पीरियड्स के दौरान गरिमा के साथ जिंदगी जीने में सक्षम हों।
Let me bring in my guests now. Ravi Bhatnagar, Director External Affairs and Partnerships SOA from Reckitt. Dr. Naina Lal Kidwai, Chair of India Sanitation Coalition. Padma Shri S. Damodaran, founder of Gramalaya. Dr. Anjali Kumar, founder of Maitri and Director Gynecology at CK Birla Hospital. We also have Ananya Malde, a young menstruation activist and founder of Project Pragati. Thank you so much for joining us. And let me go straight to Ravi Bhatnagar. Ravi, Reckitt has been working relentlessly in the menstrual hygiene space, and especially your partnership with Gramalaya. Take us through the highlights and what is the larger vision going ahead.
First of all, thank you so much, Maria, and thank you, Network 18, for having me here and having the conversation on the menstrual health and menstrual hygiene. Reckitt, through the brand Harpic, has been supporting, the Menstrual Summit for India, and we have curated the second season a few months back with Gramalaya, which is a national level organization, which is basically anchored by Sai Damodaran, who also received the Padma Shri for his work in the sanitation space. So we curated the biggest event on the menstrual health and menstrual hygiene, and the inspiration comes from our programs, which reach out to around 24 million school kids across India. When we were introducing, the chapters and the curriculum on hygiene, one of the fundamental questions which came from the girls in the school is, what's there for us? What are you doing with us? Okay, you are giving us soaps, you are giving us the education on hygiene, but hygiene should be looked comprehensively. And we deep dived with the girls, various set of girls of various age groups. One thing came out very interestingly, like they said, Raviji, this is a time for action on the menstrual health management. And, even, the emergencies or the pandemics, they will not wait for the periods. And, why period friendly toilet matter. So these were the conversations which got triggered during some of our assessments in the schools. I'm very sure, like in the times to come, when we reach to the schools through the Swachh education, which happens through the Harpic mission, Swachhta and Pani, we will be focusing more on this aspect. And when this year we have promised to reach to 15 million school kids with our sanitation curriculum. which is a comprehensive curriculum, which also has a very, very deep, conversation on and around Swachhta. Swachhta also includes mensuration. So we'll be hearing more from the fields, and we will be launching, this whole curriculum what we have curated for all the schools in India with the Network 18 soon.
Ravi, you made a very interesting point about one conversation leading to change. And that's where Damodaranji perhaps comes in. Damodaranji, you have devoted your entire life towards promoting household toilet facilities for the rural and urban poor. Please outline why a clean toilet is absolutely critical in ensuring health, dignity for women, especially during their menstruation.
Gramalia has been associating with central government's sanitation program over the past 4 decades, but we never come across menstrual hygiene as our major agenda, as a focus area in our intervention program. Only in the late 2010, we come across that menstrual hygiene management also is very, very important subject to be focused on. Whenever we used to see the schools, either it may be in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka or in Andhra Pradesh, we come across many of the adolescent girls studying in the schools are going back to their school home during school hours if they are menstruating on the day to change their sanitary napkins. And the toilet blocks in the schools are not well maintained. No water facilities, hand washing facilities, and no privacy for the adolescent girls to change their sanitary napkins as well as dispose it in a safe way. We developed our own intervention strategies after discussing with the women in the rural areas, adolescent girls in the schools, and other thought leaders about what should be done in the menstrual hygiene aspects. But many of the women, when we interacted in the rural areas, they were telling this is the first time they come across that menstrual hygiene, a matter discussed with them. So only after that we have developed a curriculum for school menstrual hygiene management curriculum.
I'm going to take this forward because the question here is that is it one size fits all, or does it actually mean that curriculum will be based on particular locations, particular areas? And before I bring in Dr. Anjali, I want to understand from you, Ravi. Clean toilets are a big factor, almost a driving factor for girls to step out of their homes for education. We do know that girls drop out of schools only because there are no clean toilets, and they feel that during menstruation they'll be compromised if they step out. There is a great degree of stigma that is attached to conversations. When you talk about these partnership programs that you're running for the education of girls, what is this curriculum in particular? Help us understand. Will it be one curriculum in all schools across India, or depending on how the terrain is, it will be different?
Thank you, Maria. This is a very, very interesting question. The whole philosophy of creating the curriculum is to make it more culturally relevant, culturally adaptive, and one size don't fit all. Right. Our vision for 2030 is we are seeing a world where no woman or girl is held back because she menstruates, where everyone can access the menstrual products of their choice. Period stigma is a history. Everyone has basic information about menstruation and how to manage it. Everyone has access to period friendly sanitation facilities. Hence, we have partners like Gramalia who have very rich experience on working on the subjects like this. Also, we also think like the information and the curriculum and the delivery mechanism should be science based and should be science led. Like we are coming up with a very interesting character of KK Kitanu, which we will be launching with Network 18 soon. And the second interesting nudge what we are using here is something called Neela Jadugar. So we are coming up with a very, very small short stories. We're coming with the STEM education tools for the girls so that they own this whole agenda. They are in the driving seat.
Naina ji, As a prominent advocate of women's rights and menstrual hygiene, what do you believe are the most pressing challenges that women and girls face when it comes to menstruation hygiene in India?
So, at the first and the biggest challenge was, of course, access to toilets, particularly given the period over which a young girl is menstruating. To have access to girls' toilets where she can go is critical. And all analysis showed that young girls, over the time when they were menstruating, were dropping out of school, dropping out of class because of not having the privacy and access to a toilet which they could then access.
Let me bring in Dr. Anjali. Dr. Anjali, the fact is that millions of girls in India still drop out of school due to lack of proper menstrual hygiene management facilities. Please outline the grave impact and health implications that the lack of access to clean toilets, water and sanitation have on young girls when they menstruate.
I know of so many people, so many girls who don't go to the school because they are scared that where would they change, how would they get water, how would they wash their hands. And I'm sure everyone knows that what is the impact of a menstrual hygiene or the lack of menstrual hygiene in a woman. I mean, starting from a simple thing that a dirty pad or maybe use of old rags or newspaper can lead to ascending infections into the vagina. And we are not just talking about the short-term problems, which means at that point of time she gets a vaginal infection. We are talking about the reproductive potential of that girl later on. In case she gets some infections, she's going to develop some adhesions, she will have chronic pain in the abdomen, she might have infertility, she might have ectopic pregnancy. So the ramification of a bad, or a compromised menstrual health could be many.
Ananya, as a young activist of just 16 years, in fact, you started project Pragat Yadav at the age of 14 and have been spreading awareness on menstruation to school-going girls. Tell us more about this.
When I found out about this problem of menstruation and the lack of menstrual awareness, especially in rural areas, I felt like I had to do something about it. And I actually read this statistic online that said that 23 million girls in India drop out of school every single year when they start menstruating. And to me, menstruation has always been just a very natural, normal process which happens to everyone. So when I found out that such a natural process can be such a big hindrance in people's lives, that's when, this topic really spoke to me. And in fact, I'm from Gujarat, and in Kutch in Gujarat, I met a young girl called Saraswati. And I was speaking to her about the issues regarding menstruation that she faces in her home. And she was telling me that it's not at all easy for her to be a young girl who is menstruating. And she is only in 6th grade right now. So she told me that she cannot enter the kitchen. She cannot even touch her parents. She cannot enter her bedroom. She would have to sleep outside in a common area, all when she was on her period. And, this was just such a young girl who was maybe 10 or 11 years old. And the fact that she has to go through such hardships in her life just because of this natural process, that's when I decided that I would have to do something about this.
On that note, we are slipping into a short break. We'll be back with lots more on this special episode of Mission Swachhta or Pani.
होगा एमएसपी से नीचे कोई खरीद नहीं होनी चाहिए। इसके लिए एमएसपी पर कानून बनाया जाना चाहिए। हमीरपुर में बेमौसम बारिश ने किसानों को तगड़ा झटका दिया है। बेमौसम बारिश की वजह से आम की 350 मीट्रिक टन फसल तबाह हो गई है। बेमौसम बारिश से 250 हेक्टेयर एरिया में फसल प्रभावित हुई है। सोलन में 1 जून को बीजेपी प्रदेश अध्यक्ष राजू बिंदल आने वाले हैं और उनके स्वागत के लिए बीजेपी कार्यकर्ताओं की ओर से स्वागत के लिए भव्य इंतजाम किए गए हैं। इस दौरान भाजपा अपने महा जनसंपर्क अभियान की शुरुआत भी सोलन से ही शुरू करेगी। चंबा के ओबरी वार्ड में सीवरेज लाइन बिछाए जाने में देरी की वजह से यहां के स्थानीय लोगों को काफी परेशानियों का सामना करना पड़ रहा है। 5 साल पहले इस वार्ड में सीवरेज लाइन डालने के लिए
Welcome back to this very special episode of Mission Swachhta or Pani on the occasion of Menstrual Hygiene Day. We have a very special panel today. Damodaranji, let me take that thought, because you are one of the partners of Reckitt and have been working in the area of menstrual hygiene management, impacting adolescent girls studying in schools and women in rural areas. Please highlight some of the key initiatives that have been undertaken by you.
We have been advocating for eco-friendly menstrual hygiene products, particularly the reusable and washable cloth pads, the tampons, also the menstrual cups in the rural areas. But the women and adolescent girls are particularly interested in using the washable and reusable cloth pads in the rural areas. They could even spend money for that, even if it is a little costlier, but they could able to use the washable cloth pads for nearly 2 years, so that they can save some money out of while they are purchasing for sanitary napkins in the commercial shops. They know the value of using eco-friendly cloth pads. What we have done in some of the districts in Tamil Nadu, in Pudukkottai district, more than 100 villages now have become 100% reusable, washable cloth pad using menstruating women and adolescent girls in these villages.
Ravi, a final thought. It's about these conversations which have to have men on board. It's not just about women talking about it. It's about normalizing these conversations. When you talk about a curriculum, and you clearly have plans, you have displayed some interesting characters to take that message forward. Will this curriculum be age specific?
Definitely, like we are reaching out to the parents, and we are seeking the consent, and we are trying to understand when they want their kids to be exposed to the curriculum like this. But what, in a nutshell, I will say what we are seeking or what we can do together is to talk about the subject, support the subject, and celebrate menstruation rather than seeing it as a taboo. Nowadays, particularly, we are talking about the DNI and diversity and inclusion, and our own Prime Minister is the biggest advocate for the same. I will just give you a very small example of his Australia visit recently. When he was doing a lot of meetings, one of the guys who also is in the WTO Hall of Fame with me, his name is Mark Bala. So Prime Minister met him, and this gentleman from Australia gave him a book called Toilet Warrior, where Reckitt's work and my work is also featured. And your Prime Minister was so happy to see it, and he called his official photographer to click him with this book. And this book is all about the toilet warrior stories. These warrior stories also talk a lot about the stories of cleaner toilets, the need of the toilets, of the pink toilets, and many other aspects. And definitely Mind Journey, along with Mark Bala, along with Jackson, and along with one more person. Her name is Rose George. We are the 3 recipients of the Hall of Fame for the World Toilet Summit in Melbourne.
For the moment, I must congratulate you for being in the Hall of Fame, and of course, taking this conversation forward, because Ravi, you have certainly emerged, Reckitt, and you have emerged as the primary stakeholder in the entire journey. So congratulations and thank you. Ananya, you have drafted a menstrual health curriculum for girls. We would want to know more about this.
I decided to make my own menstrual curriculum after speaking to some experts in the field. And I crafted my own curriculum, which was personal to the girls there, as well as it covered all the necessary topics in a very easy to understand manner. And it was in Gujarat. The first main topic was about puberty and about, their period and the biological aspects that are behind it, because they're often not taught that in schools. And I feel that the only way to remove this taboo around menstruation is to talk about it and to educate people on it so that they see it's such a natural process. And in many schools, I even found out that there was a big problem of disposal of sanitary pads. So I added that into my curriculum as well, how to safely dispose of sanitary pads. And I also got incinerators installed in 2 schools there so that, these girls, while they're at school, they can dispose of their sanitary napkins in a safe manner.
Menstrual hygiene education, ma'am, plays a crucial role in empowering girls and women to manage their periods safely. How can we integrate comprehensive menstrual health education into school curriculum and community programs?
I think it's about education. So it can, in a curriculum, it enables boys and girls to really understand what it's about, why it's an important and natural part of a cycle, and to just make it commonplace. It's not something to hide and to run away from. When you're trying to look at elements of social change, I think all our traditional tools, which included the local nookers, the street plays, and jingles and songs, and awareness through that. And these were some very important communication techniques that were used right through the Swachh Bharat mission, whether it was a hand washing agenda or encouraging people to go to toilets. So using these same tools or in the same messaging, including some of the menstrual hygiene factors, becomes important.
Let me bring Dr. Anjali quickly on this. Dr. Anjali, girls in India tend to miss schools for almost like 6 to 7 days in a month because of menstruation. On the occasion of Menstrual Hygiene Day, where the theme is making menstruation a normal fact of life by 2030, what would be your appeal to the society at large?
So my appeal to the society and most of women would be, number one, be proud of the fact that you are having a period. This is something which is not to be ashamed of. It's absolutely normal. In fact, having a period talks about your ability to procreate, to give life. So be proud of that.
A big thank you to all our panelists for this really insightful conversation. And with that, we have come to the end of the Menstrual Hygiene Day special of Mission Swachhta or Pani. Thanks so much for watching.
Swachhta aur Pani.